Well, good evening. Well, it's evening now anyway. Welcome to the channel. If you follow my videos as we go along on the list, I do apologise this is a bit late. I've been a bit ill and I'm still a bit throaty, so you'll have to bear with me. But we're back now, or we're going to give it a go anyway. If you're now joining the video 6 months later or whenever it will be, welcome to the channel. And yeah, I'm perfectly well. Now, this video, it's a long intro, isn't it? This video, we're going to do it all uncut. It's going to be a bit of a, I'll make it as short as I can, but this is a summary video of my trip to Sharm el Sheikh and to Coral Sea Water Park. So I'm going to take you through the whole trip from the UK all the way over there, all what we did while we was there, and give you my my unbiased content of what I actually thought it was like. If you follow the playlist, you will see all the different segment videos I've done, which takes you through our time there. I'm not one of these kind of YouTubers that goes in just for the day, couple of days, and we whisk around it really quick. I was there for the 7 days, and obviously I got to experience it, what it was like longer term. So this is the summary video, and yeah, these will be my views, my personal views. Now, just a disclaimer, when I go on these trips, I pay for it. I'm not sponsored, I'm not monetized as such. I don't have enough subscribers to be vastly sort of monetized on YouTube. So at the moment, everything I do, I pay for myself. So this will be my view, and no biased. Now, got my little list of questions and sort of bullet points that we're going to go through. So I will take you through my whole trip. So, as I normally do on my channel, we'll grab a cuppa. Like I said, I'll go through this as quick as I can. I don't want to bore you with what this is like. And so here we go. Let me just have a swig of this first. I've had a bit of a bad cold, and I've got to try and keep my throat going. So, the flight out there. So we went from Gatwick. We did stay over the night before because I live in sort of northeast Anglia, so it's a bit of a trip for us to go all the way to Gatwick. So we went from Gatwick. Now, I did pay the extra, and we did have fast track security. My personal recommendation is, if you do want to go to that, it's not really that much. I think we only paid about £6 each. I think it could be 10 normally. It was definitely worth it. It really was worth it, and I would do it again. So there's another point. Second point that I didn't mind doing in the summer of 2025, but I totally regretted on this trip when we went to Sharm el Sheikh in November 2025, was I booked the Plaza Lounge, and they'd totally changed it. There was no proper cooked breakfast. There was just so many elements missing. Check the video that I did on the Gatwick to Sharm el Sheikh, and I go through it a bit more there while we're actually there. But personally, my personal opinion, don't waste your money on it. Go to a different lounge. They've basically, like I said, they've took away all the cooked breakfasts. Try to think the other. There's no toasting machine. It's literally, I think, porridge you have to do on demand. I think there was some crisps there. I think there was some cereal there, and some hot drinks, and they did these little patties or patties to replace your breakfast. And I thought, am I really paying nearly 30 quid a head for this? I thought you got to be joking. So my personal opinion, don't bother wasting your money. Go and try one of the other lounges out. I'm assuming they're still actually better. There is a premium Plaza Lounge, so that may well still do the proper breakfast, but the basic Plaza Lounge that we did, don't bother wasting your money, and I won't be doing it again either, I can tell you. So flight out there, that all went okay. We went with TUI. That was all fine. Didn't have any issues at all on that. As usual, TUI pretty good. Again, you can follow the flight video what it was like. We did try one of their had to try their usual brews and that one we was out there. But anyway, flight went okay. So that was fine. On the flight, what they will do, as usual, with when you go to Egypt, you'll have these cards they will give you to fill out. And these are like your entry and exit cards. So we'll talk about the entry card first. So my advice when you go on this holiday to Sharm el Sheikh, bring some pens with you, because you'll need to fill this card out, and then when you land at Sharm el Sheikh and you go through passport control, as well as them checking your passport, you will need to hand this card in as well. But the passport control will go through that with you. But if you don't have a pen, you'll end up getting to the airport, having to wait, filling out this card before you can then go through passport control. So this is one of these, basically, Egypt counts everyone that comes in and everyone that goes out. I believe we may have used to do this in the UK, but we don't know. Anyway, let's not go there. Right, so like I said, my advice, take a pen with you. You can fill it out on the plane, and then literally you can just head straight to passport control. You've already got your card filled out and it's all done. It is just basic details of your flight, who you are, your passport number and all that kind of thing, but it does tell you on the card what to fill out. Buses, once we got through, the baggage it took a little while to come through, but some of the airports seem to be getting like this now, so I'm not going to massively have a dig at Sharm. It's just how airports are. So we got luggage, got on the bus, that was fine. Coral Sea Water Park, Water World Hotel, I'll get there. It's just over 5 miles from the airport to get there. Now I think we was the last stop on the bus, so it took us about, I think it was about 15 to 20 minutes, something like that. So that's time-wise how far it is with stops to get to the hotel from the airport. So, but like I said, it is about something like, I think it's about 5.2 mile from the airport, that hotel. So that gives you the kind of mileage what you got to do. Now, once we got to the hotel, so that's the flight, and we've kind of covered the bus. The bus was fine. No issues at all on the bus. Sorry, I'm just going through my checklist here. We're doing this all in one take, so you'll have to bear with me on the little mistakes. So, hotel booking. Right. So when we got there, again, just be prepared. Have your pens with you again. When you get to the hotel and you get to the reception desk, they will then give you a form to fill out. It's an A4 size piece of paper, but don't worry, you don't fill it all out. It's just the usual kind of thing where they're checking your details, who you are and all that kind of thing. So they'll give you the form, get your pens out again. You fill out, again, it's just your name, your passport details and all that kind of thing. It just takes you a couple of minutes to fill out. Once you've filled that form out, then you go back to reception, and that's when they then formally book you in. But to be honest, once we filled the form out, they'd booked us in pretty quick. Staff at the front desk at Coral Sea Water World, I found them very good. No issues at all, pretty helpful. And unfortunately, I can't remember the guy's name who served us, but I think he seemed like one of the managers there. He really went out of his way for us. So I'll go through that scenario now. So it was three of us going. Again, we're now in my playlist. You can now check out the room review, and that will show you what the rooms are like. Now, they put us into I think a standard kind of family room, but I think it was more aimed at if you'd had smaller children, and we had to wait for the bed to come in because they hadn't put the single bed in. Then this manager was concerned how who we'd been and what we'd been given. And what an excellent customer service guy. I think whoever this, I think it could have been Ahmed, but I can't remember. I do apologise, I can't remember his name. But I'm pretty certain he was either a supervisor or I got a feeling he was a manager. He actually came to us later on and he said, look, we'd like to give you a free upgrade to a different family room. It was actually more fitted out for an older child, teenager, that kind of sort of age. So he took us to the room. He wanted us to look at it first to make sure we were happy with it, which we were. And he went out his way over his time when he should have been working to help us out. So I can't thank him enough. The customer service he did that night was way beyond what he had to do, really, but he did. So yeah, top marks for that guy. So that was a room. Now the rooms, we'll go on to the rooms now. Rooms, I would give possibly about 8 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. This is about the 4th time I've been to Egypt, and I think definitely out of all the hotels I've been to Egypt, this was definitely the best one. So I don't really have any issues at all with the room. Some of them I think are getting a bit tired, but nothing major. They definitely, you can tell there's bits in the hotel, and we'll kind of sum this up in a bit later, but just looking at the rooms, some rooms are better than others. Cleanliness I didn't have an issue with, that they were absolutely fine. But you could tell some of the furnishings, some of the casings and that had kind of, it's really sort of refurb time. So and when we did go to the supper room, there was a couple of things not quite working right. For the hotel, credit for the hotel, the guy did come out and he did sort it out and he did fix things. And that was fine, done. But definitely, I think it's getting to the point you perhaps need maybe a minor refurb, but a refurb. But without that, outside of that, there was no issues with the room. We had no issues with bugs or nothing at all. Everything worked how you'd expect it to work. So while I'm doing this video, I'm going to try and think of some of the questions that you may ask. Some of the hair dryers, some work and some don't. So just pre-warn you may want to bring your own. We did, luckily. But the hairdryer we had in the actual room wasn't that great. So TV channels, I think we found 2 or 3 that were English, but that was it. Or English speaking, so that was about it. So if you go into these rooms and you want a vast kind of setting where you're gonna have lots and lots of English channels, and you're in a foreign country, I expect it. Just you're not gonna get it. So, but apart from that, the bed was perhaps firmer than we would want, but I've had a lot worse. So it's for a week. It's bearable, so it's not a problem. Room service we're in every day. The only difference I found with this place, other places we've been to, you normally have a towel station, but these didn't. You seem to keep the same towels all week, sort of. It seems to be some days we had a cleaner come in and he would change our beach swimming pool towels, and then another day you never saw him, and then you get to another day. I think one of the days he said, yeah, I'll be there later to pick the towels up, but never ever shown. So I gave up in the end and just dried them outside myself. So so it's a kind of bit of hit and miss with it. They do supply you the towels, and they're normally in the room, toweled up as you go in. But I did find the towels kind of inconsistent, and I think, although they did clean the rooms and they did the towel art and that kind of thing, but again, I found our cleaner okay at times, and sometimes he was, I don't know whether it's the workload they've got, but I did find it a little bit inconsistent. Anyway, let me just stop for a quick second. We'll have a slurp with this. But overall, room wise, I guess I'd give it about an 8 out of 10. So that's the rooms. Right. Logistics around the sort of apartments and that. As I showed you on the tour video, I know it's a bit long, but I always do this when I do these videos of the places. I normally leave it till about Thursday. That way it's given me about 4 days to 5 days to get my head around the hotel, experience everything, and then I do the tour video and I take you around with me and I'll show you as much as I can. Now, you would have seen, as I showed you on the steps, that they do have ramps where all the steps are generally. So if you are dragging cases, or you've got mobility scooters or prams, buggies and that kind of thing, you're pretty much catered at that hotel. I didn't find anywhere in that hotel really where you'd be kind of stuck. So it really catered very well, I thought. There is lifts there as well. So there is lifts to the different floors. So you're definitely kind of catered. It is a big hotel. It's kind of a lot bigger than what you think, especially when you're doing a tour video and you got to walk around it. But but yeah, it is a big hotel, so there is a little bit of walking, but it's nothing to the end of the world kind of thing. So so that's kind of the logistics. So that covers that. I think I'll kind of cover. I don't think there's anything else on there. They did bring you bottled water in the room each day, so you normally got another 2 bottles each day, or they kept you to kind of see you've got 2 full bottles. Now I've read some bits about sickness and people having you know, upset stomachs and that kind of thing, which I'll cover in a moment. My personal advice, I'll leave it up to you. My personal advice when I visit Egypt, you'll have to excuse the old cat, she likes a little chat. Anyway, when I go to Egypt, apart from washing my physical body or whatever, I don't touch the tap water at all. So if you're drinking, using bottled water, if you are using the brushing your teeth and that kind of thing, really use the bottled water they give you. If you do need more bottled water, you can just go to main reception and they'll give you extra bottled water. So that covers the bottled water. But like I said, don't drink the water, don't consume anything at all. Like, that was my suggestion. So stick to the bottled water. Like I said, you're okay washing, but just don't consume any. My little tip there. Right, okay, pools. Now there's a few pools up here, and obviously we have the water park as well. Again, I've done this all as a separate video, so you can have a look at that. I cover it quite in depth, as I normally do when I do my hotel videos. So you have the first pool you come to, which is more of a calmer pool, and that pool caters for sort of younger children. There is a bar there that you can swim up to. I don't have any experience in that pool because, like I said, I don't have younger kids, so we didn't tend to use that pool at all. But I did show it on the video and give you a good sort of walk around where it was. There is plenty of beds. Now, we went in early November 2025. Every day I didn't have an issue getting a bed at all. There was lots of spare beds. There is busy periods, but even when we did go down on a busy period, you could still get a bed. So they are available. We mainly hung out on the second pool, which is the bigger pool, more of the main pool, I would call it. Again, it has separate sections. There's an area sectioned off for toddlers going up to, I guess, sort of kind of junior school sort of age. And then from, I think, 12 onwards, that then splits them into the main pool and sort of where the adult pool is. Again, there is another swim up bar there. But if you don't want to go into the water to the bar, there is a bridge as I showed you on the video, going over, and you can just walk over to the bar yourself as well. So again, didn't have any issues with the pool. The animation team are around there quite a bit. They do the sort of what do you call it, aquarobics kind of thing in the water. They do all that there. I think the darts they do on that pool there as well on the side, obviously not in the pool. So, but yeah, no problem at all. Bar staff, Naddy, who I think he's like a supervisor or bar manager. He kind of looked after that, along with a few of the other guys, Mohammed and Ahmed, I think is another one as well. But Naddy seemed to be running it. Very good guy. Ask him for a Naddy special if you like your cocktails. In the main video, I did put the cocktail menu in there, so if you want to have a look at that before you go, you can do. So that's all on there. So that kind of covers the pool. I didn't see any issues in the pools. They were definitely out there cleaning the pools every morning. Again, if you watch my hotel full walk around video, you'll actually see the guys there in the morning cleaning the pool. So again, cleanliness we'll have a chat in once we get near the end. So that was them two pools. They seem to be the only main pools there. Water park. Water park opens at 10 in the morning. I think it's 10 till 4. I think, or 10 till 5, something like that. Daily. You can kind of start pitching up there about, I'd say about 9:30ish. We used to go in about 9:30, and the water park, actually, the rides, if you like, open at 10 o'clock. So, didn't have any issues at all there. So they've got the usual sort of cyclones and sort of slides and that to go down. They've got a wave machine pool there. They've got an excellent kids area there, which I thought was really good, and one of them ones which you think, oh, I wish I had one of them when I was a kid. So that was it. There is their own cafe bar kind of area there as well. There is a tots area, which I believe I showed on the pool tour video. Loads and loads of lifeguards in all these pools. Everywhere we went, there was lifeguards about. They're all pretty friendly. They'll help you out if you get stuck. But yeah, no issues at all. The whole time with the pools, again, I didn't particularly have any issues. Everything seemed to work okay. Now, again, generally overall, the pools seem to be in very good nick. I can see how they've kind of built them, and they're definitely not the worst, but I think they might be getting to the point again where it's just getting to that period where they might want to start doing a bit of work on them. But that's where I would put it. Apart from that, I didn't have any issues with the pools. Again, do your best you can not to take any water in. I know with kids that'll perhaps be easier said than done, because obviously kids are kids, they will mess about in the pools. But if you can maybe try and, advise them not to, if best they can, not to swallow any water or all that kind of thing, just helps, that's all. Not saying it's the end of the world. I'm not here to tell anyone what they're doing. That's just my personal advice. Obviously, you're in a different country, so, you just have to be aware. You have to do the best you can not to, because you don't want to spoil your holiday. So yeah. But that kind of covers the pools at the park. So, again, I'd perhaps give them about 7.8 to 8. And the only reason I say that is because I just think they're maybe starting to get to the point where they perhaps want a little bit of a refurb, maybe. But compared to some places I've been to, yeah, they weren't too bad. So, the beach area. Now, the beach is literally about a couple of minutes walk from the pools, or particularly the main pool. So if you go from reception to the beach, I don't know, it depends how quick your walking pace is, but you can be down there in 5-minute walk, something like that. 10 really dragging it out, so but it's really not far. So but yeah, it's as I showed you on the beach tour video, there some of it is sand, some of it is the fine sort of kind of crunched up coral, because obviously it is a coral area. So just be aware you do need footwear really if you're on the beach. Like I said, some of it can be sharp, but overall not bad. Again, cleanliness I'll go over at the end. Overall, I thought the beach was okay. Snorkeling, if you want to do that kind of thing, just be aware that the bay is very, very shallow, and it's very, very, very shallow even when you walk out even 100 yards. Again, as you'll see on the I think it's the beach tour video, I walk out over 100 yards and it's only just up to my waist, if that. So so it's not that you couldn't snorkel there, but you really are going to be lower down in the water. So you have to go a long, long way out before the water starts to sort of get a lot deeper. So now if you want to do snorkeling, what I would suggest you do is go to the far right where the jetty is, go along the jetty to the end, and they have 2 segments set out there. It's all marked out. And you have 2 areas there where you can swim if you just want to swim in the sea, but they do snorkeling there as well. And the one on the left did have quite a few fish, one just below the steps that you literally walk down the water on, or if you go, as you swim out in the left bay one, if you go out as far left as you can to where the fence ends, there is a little bit of reef bit there, and we did see a few fish down there. Again, there is a lifeguard at the end of the jetty who kind of keeps an eye on things down the bottom there. If you do any of the speedboat trips and that, I believe they go from there as well. So now on the beach, you've got a beach bar. It's not as quite as equipped as the other bars, but it's got most things that you'll want there anyway. So, but you can go there. Toilet facilities, there's none on the beach what I could find. You'll have to leave in the comments if you know more than me, but I didn't find any toilets on the beach. So the beach, you've got the beach bar, you've got on there's a place there where you can do like the sort of water sports. You can book all that there, and the paragliding and all that kind of thing. And then if you go right to the far right end, the Aquas dive centre's just there. And obviously if you want to do snorkeling and book all them kind of things, you can do that there as well. So that kind of covers the beach. There is security at the far end as well. So you are kind of covered down there and looked after. And again, on the beach, there is lifeguards about. Oh, needed that. So that kind of covers the beach. Again, there is beds and all that down there. You don't reserve. It is a first come, first served. You don't have to pay for them. Again, please check out the beach video, but I would advise getting down there possibly as soon as you can. It wasn't too bad when we was there in November. I can't imagine how quick they all go in August, July, August time. But November, pretty much there was beds free most of the day, so it's not too bad. Going back to the toilets, you'll have to come back into the complex for the toilets. So slightly going back to the pool, I was going to cover it on the restaurants, but don't forget there is the food court area, which that's just off the main pool. There is toilets there at the back, or if you go, if looking back up to reception, if you walk along the right hand side looking up, there are some toilets on the right hand side there as well, but that's kind of your nearest toilets. So that pretty much covers the beach. Like I said, check out the video in the playlist. Facilities, so you have got the animation team there, you have got the dive centre, Aquas Dive Centre, also Aquas if you come out of reception heading towards the beach, if you go to the right hand side of the complex, or of the hotel, Aquas have got another main office down there along the service road, and that's where their practice dive pool is as well. But again, you'd have to check in with the guys, and that they can advise you there. Other facilities, as I showed you on the walk tour video, which is really the best video to watch to cover everything. You have got a tennis court there. You have got, I think it's like a five-a-side football there. You have also, just near the football, you have got the sort of kids zone area. And a little gated community for like youngsters, toddlers and that kind of age group. You supervise them, and there is an activity centre there for them as well. Unfortunately, I can't advise you what they do in there or the opening times, but have a check when you first get there, or check with reception. And don't forget, unlike some of the questions I see on Facebook, reception is always your first port of call if you've got any queries. Also, while we're doing the facilities, the TUI rep, as you go into the hotel reception, if you go down the stairs, what are in front of you, at the bottom of them stairs, that's where you'll find the TUI rep. He has a desk there, and from what I can see, he was there most days, so it's not to say, that's where the TUI rep is. If you come with other companies, I didn't see any others there. It's not to say they don't come in, but I didn't see them there. I only saw TUI there. Other facilities they got, I'm trying to think now. Obviously, you got the entertainment at night. My best advice is bring lots of mosquito spray with you, because we got bit like anything when we was there, and I certainly did. So my advice is, yeah, bring some mosquito repellent and that kind with you, because at night, daytime, it doesn't seem to be an issue. There's the odd flies about, but no more than what I've had anywhere else, really. But at night, although you don't see them, but the bottom of your legs and that kind of thing, I got bit like anything. So when you're sitting there watching the entertainment at night, which there is entertainment at night on the stage, in just outside the main restaurant area in the square there. Like I said, at night it's a nightmare. Either cover yourself up if you can. Obviously, summertime you're not going to be able to. But yeah, just a bit of advice. Take mosquito repellent with you. I think pretty much that covers the kind of facilities that I'm aware of. There is a section table in reception where I think you can book taxis and all that kind of thing from. But the rest of it, I can only give you my advice. I'm not a travel correspondent. I'm just giving you my tour while I was there. Right, restaurants. So, now people have spoke about an Indian restaurant. Now, I'm not saying there isn't one there, but I never saw it if there was. So I do apologise if it was there and I completely missed it, but I can't advise on it because I never saw one. Italian restaurant is there. If you go to, I'm trying to remember now. It's either the top or the bottom of the stairs. I'm getting old now, aren't I? I think it's at the bottom of the stairs as you go down, and it's just on your right hand side, kind of opposite where the TUI rep is. But I could be wrong. This is me weeks later after coming back home, so I do apologise. But it's either the top or the bottom of the stairs. Oh dear, you'll be old one day. But yeah, there is the Italian restaurant there. The Asian restaurant, as you go through the gate to the water park, if you stick to the left-hand side kind of sort of pathway that takes you round, if you follow that round to the end, once you get to the end on the left-hand side, you will see the Asian restaurant, and that's where that is. That is where it's located. Again, I didn't go to these two restaurants because you have to pay extra. These are not part of, these aren't like some of the other places I've been to where you can book these restaurants and it's just part of your package. These two restaurants you actually have to pay a little bit extra for. It's nothing major, but if there's a few of you, that soon adds up, doesn't it? So I can't advise you what the meals are like. They did get used while we was there. but I don't think they cater for lots and lots and lots, and unlike the other restaurants. So that was that's them two restaurants anyway. So if you do know what the Indian restaurant is, let me know in the comments. Main restaurant. At this point, I'm going to thank our waiter who helped us out while we was here. I know he'd love a little call out. So Kareem, if you see him, go to him. Excellent guy, really friendly and really helpful. He's at the main restaurant. Obviously, there's lots of other ones in there. You're all good guys. So, but he kind of attached to us while we was there for the week. So, which is really nice of him. Main restaurant again. Check out the meal reviews I did. I've got to hand it to the chefs and cooks and all the people in the kitchen there. I can't fault you on any of the food that we had there. They all tasted nice. I didn't have all the days we were there, even in the food court. The food court was near the main pool, which you can have during the day. All the stuff's made fresh, so, and everything looked pretty clean, so I can't actually raise any issues on that. My pointers, what I would say, what I always do when I'm in Egypt, I don't have any salads or anything cold, like for main course. Obviously ice cream and that's different. But when it comes to salad and things like that, I only have cooked stuff. So I never had an upset stomach the entire time we were there. I was absolutely fine, and so was the rest of the family. But like I said, I have to hand it to the old cooks and chefs there. Everything tasted very nice. I can't fault it at all. It's definitely one of the best hotels I think I've been to for the food. It was all cooked pretty well. They did keep reimbursing the areas. So I know on some of my photographs what I took where it seems like they haven't filled up. Literally not long after I'd done it, they were refilling it up again. So, so yes, food, I would certainly give the food, I would say 8.5 to nearly 9 out of 10. Because I thought everything tasted pretty nice. And very good. And when I think how many people there is of us there, I think they did a good job. So, and like I said, the waiters and that always keeping you topped up with drinks and that kind of thing. So, so restaurant wise, although it's only the main restaurant and main restaurant does breakfast, it does your lunches, and it does the dinner, evening meal, depends where you come from. Actually, let me just have a swig of this Yorkshire tea at this point. Oh, but yeah, like I said, not an issue at all with the restaurants. And like I said, during the day, they do lunch up there, or you can go to the food court and have a mixture of different bits and pieces down there. But again, check out my meal reviews. I kind of cover all the details you want in that. Dessert wise, they do a vast series of different desserts there. And I'm not really a big dessert person myself, but my wife said the desserts tasted better than some of the other hotels we've been at. So there you go. Other 2 points that they do in this restaurant that I haven't seen in other ones, not saying they don't, but I haven't seen in other ones. They have a gluten-free area, which I've never seen anywhere else we've been to. And they do like a separate kids area, so it's a selection of what they think kids will have. So it'll have like the mashed potato, the chicken nuggets, chips and all that kind of thing, but they actually have a separate children's area, which I thought was really good as well. So thumbs up guys for that. Okay, I'm trying to think. Wi-Fi wasn't too bad. Not top of the world. If you're doing, Wi-Fi is pretty much everywhere, so you get it around the poles, in the rooms. It definitely seemed to work better as you'd expect in the reception area, but it did go out you did even get it every now and again. You did get it a bit on the beach as well. It is a bit hit and miss during the day. I think it's mainly just to do with the amount of people on it. because I can tell you now, between midnight and 7 in the morning, that worked way better. Now, if you're doing average stuff on the internet, it works fine. Like I said, it is a bit intermittent, but it does work. If you're someone like me doing YouTube and you're uploading videos, sometimes it did take me quite a while uploading clips and doing editing and that kind of thing. So it's not the best in the world for that, but I did do it. It just took a bit longer than it normally would, say, from home. But the Wi-Fi was okay. It's certainly, I've had a hell of a lot worse at other places, or none at all. So this one was pretty good. Trying to think what other questions you may want to ask. So, plug sockets, they're the European 2-pin ones. And if you check my room reviews, I think in the end we had about 5 or 6 sockets in the room easily that you could plug into. There may be a little bit more than that, but it is the European 2-pin one. So it does get quite warm there, so I would bring lots of suntan lotion with you as well. We went early 2025 in November, and the temperatures then for that year were 28 to 31 degrees. I believe it's dipped a little bit now. I'm now recording this kind of end of November 2025. But I still think it's kind of around the sort of 25 to 28 mark out there. It could be a little bit more. So just to give you a kind of ideas what the temperatures are like then. Okay, so booking out and bus back. Now let's have an honest conversation about Sharm el Sheikh Airport. Now, on our occasion, now I'm not going to say this is every occasion because I'm sure it isn't, but it's kind of an all-in-one package here. Our TUI bus, I think, was running late, and although we did go direct to the airport, we didn't stop anywhere else, but I really think TUI needs to pick you up a lot earlier than they did. I think they picked us up about 2 o'clock, and I think the flight was at 17:40. And really, for Sharm el Sheikh Airport, that is not soon enough. I don't know whether you're any better getting a taxi yourself. I think the TUI thing's okay, but it really was cutting fine. So I'll explain it all now. You can watch it on my Gatwick, my sort of Sharm el Sheikh to Gatwick video. So now we got picked up fine. Bus was all okay. We got there. Now Sharm el Sheikh Airport, I think architecture-wise, looks a gorgeous building. It really does. But unfortunately, my personal experience, and I'll give you how it is, I got there and I thought it was a complete mess. I'm not going to massively have a go at the staff that work there. They did what they do, and most of them were pretty good. I just think, personally, I think it's a very, very busy airport, having to cater for a lot of people, and it's like the place has perhaps outgrown itself. That's my opinion. It really was a complete mess when we got in, with people getting shoved all over the place. You get security checked when you go in. That's before you get to the booking in desk. So just to make you aware, we all got shoved into lines. Then when you get to security, they'll be checking your passport. Now note, this is passport check number 1. This is. Now, just to give you a highlight, the time we've gone through the whole process till we finally get to the gate where we're about to get on the bus to get to the plane, I had my passport checked 8 times. I kind of expect it in sort of Middle Eastern kind of places, because I've had this before, but just to give you a heads up. Again, another tip, this is another place where you need your pens at the ready, because you are going to have an exit card that you'll need to fill out as well. So let's go through the process. So you come into the terminal, which looks like a complete free-for-all mess. You'll go through these lines. You will have to go through an X-ray machine, archway, and men and women get put in 2 separate lines. So don't panic when you get there. That I've had this before again in Egypt, that this is what they do. So I can kind of see why they do it, but that's what they do. So when we got there, the men went on the right hand side. This is when you're getting through, so you can both all go in the same line, but when you're about to go for the metal detector archways, the women went on the left hand side and the men went on the right. So we got through all that. Then you go into your normal booking desk kind of area, where again, really, TUI was booking in Manchester, Birmingham and Gatwick all at the same time. Now, my concern here with TUI, it may well be a valid reason. I'm not running an airline, so I'm only giving you my independent point of view. But literally, all these 3 flights were going out within 10 minutes of each other. And I'm thinking, is this really a good idea when you're trying to book in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people? So, and even when we finally got to the booking desk, the guy did seem a bit overwhelmed because there just didn't seem enough of them. And I kind of thought this a little bit when we was at Boa Vista, where I kind of felt sorry for the TUI people and the booking in people because they just seemed to be overwhelmed. But we got booked in. I mean, the actual guy who booked us in, really nice guy. They just seemed like well, I'm glad they're doing it and not me. So they'll book you in, they'll give you your boarding passes that you need, and he will then give you your exit card that you need to fill out. Pretty much exactly the same as your entry card, just fill out your details in it again. This is where you need your pen. What we did, because there was obviously lines waiting to go through passport control, which is next, we actually just filled out the cards while we was in the queue, which is why we had our pens with us. Right. Then we went through passport control. Obviously, they check all your passports. They'll take the exit card away, do your stamp, done. Once you've gone through all that, you'll then go through your next security phase, which is where you get your bags and all that checked again. What I would say at Sharm el Sheikh, I didn't have to get anything out of the bags. Now, obviously, being a YouTuber, I carry quite a few electronic things, as you can imagine. But I didn't once, both times through the X-ray machine. So when you first come in the terminal and when you go for the actual security part, you just put your bag in. So that was that. They do a lot of physical searching now. When you go through some airports, you might be that random person who happens to be checked. But you'll find in Egypt, and I have had this at every place I've been to, they do physically check everyone. So just to be aware, it's not a shocker, it's just a normal event. So that was that. So we got through security, that was all done. And then once we were through that, you went eventually downstairs. And again, what I was saying about the lateness is TUI, I believe, picked us up 2 hours too late. They should have got us there 2 hours earlier than that, because the time we'd gone through security, then booking in, then through passport control, then through security again, then eventually down to the duty-free bit, we literally had about 10 minutes before we had to rush to the gate, and then we'll carry on with that. Duty-free shops, I did show you a bit on the camera there, if you watch the Sharm to Gatwick video. Not bad. I've got to admit, if you do buy cigarettes and that, they really are cheap there. Not my thing, but you know, just giving you a bit of advisement if you're interested. Then when you actually go to your gate, you'll then have to go through another passport checking bit again. They do randomly pick people to check suitcases and that kind of thing. Luckily, for the first time ever, I wasn't picked on this random. I actually just had my passport checked, and they do check your boarding pass and make sure, as there was this couple in front of me, and they'd obviously got the boarding passes mixed up in the wrong passports. So obviously that caused a bit of a concern, and he did call them back, and he went through other checks with them. It was sorted and done, but just to make you aware, and it's good because it's showing that they are actually checking the details and not just going, "Yep, yeah, that's all right." So you had it all checked there, and then that was fine. Waited at the gate, but what I'm saying out of all this is that because Tui was so late picking us up, and the time you've gone through all that, and it really took us quite a while from entering the terminal to finally get into that gate. Now, bearing in mind, we would have been at the airport about, I'm guessing, about 2:30, 20 to 3 times, something like that. We didn't nearly get to, now, bearing in mind the flight was meant to go at 17:40. Now, we didn't nearly get to that gate until 5:30. That is how long that took us to get through this whole endless security checking process, booking in, doing cards and all that kind of thing, which is why I think TUI, you know where you are, I think you really need to get us there a bit earlier. So, but yeah, once we got to the gate, just as you're boarding your plane, obviously, as normal, they'll check your passports. But again, before we got to the TUI guy checking our passports, before you actually leave the gate to head to the plane, there was another security guy there checking our passports again, just to make sure they'd been stamped and that. So, yeah. So like I said, from the start of the terminal to me leaving the gate to get onto the plane, my passport was checked 8 times. But there. So yes, we got on the plane. That's a coach to get you from the plane to the terminal, and obviously back to the plane again on the way home. Again, on the plane, pretty good. TUI staff, pretty good. No issues at all with that. And yeah, the flight home. Now, next little bit of advice. Now, I don't know what's going on with Boeing 737s at the moment. I'm not a Boeing 737 sort of professional. We perhaps on YouTube better ask Jerry from Big Jet TV, or perhaps Captain Steve. But I don't know what it is at the moment, but we normally have the back seat on the planes. We normally book that one. And all this year in 2025, I don't know what is going on with the aircon in these planes, but it's like non-existent. And I think the flight we had home has got to be the worst flight I think I've ever been on in my entire life. That literally, I thought I was literally going to die of starve of oxygen. It was literally, I've never been through so much water in cups of tea in my life. I mean, TUI must have made a fortune out of me on the way home. It was so hot. Now, when they did finally, they seem to keep running these cabins hot. I don't know whether that's because TUI's trying to make more money out of drinks or something, I don't know. But that really was uncomfortable and really not a nice flight. Staff, great. Captain, you know, no issues at all with the staff, but I don't know whether this is a directive that got going or whether these planes are just crap now. I don't really know, but it wasn't a good experience, and I don't think I'll be booking that back seat anymore, and I'll try somewhere else within the plane. But it was way too hot. You just couldn't breathe. You kept feeling up to the aircon, and it was like it was hardly coming out at all. And yeah, it really wasn't. It was unpleasant, I'm afraid to say. And yeah, it does give me second thoughts on not having that back seat anymore. I don't mind the back seat, but for some reason, we've had that seat before last year and it was fine. So whether they're even not turning the aircon on like they used to, whether that's to save bloody money, I don't know. But it certainly is not as cool on these planes as they used to be. And I just seem to be running hot, and to the point it's nearly making you ill. And then when I'm thinking, oh, is it just me? I look across to the other side of the plane, to the other 3 people, and they're sitting there fanning themselves like this as well. So this is how hot this plane was. And no lie, it wasn't that much better going out there. And I hate to say, and obviously if you follow the channel, I went to Boa Vista in June, and it was a bit like that then. So just another tip there, and just my thought on the plane. But apart from that, that all went well. So let's kind of sum up now. We've been waffling on for nearly an hour, and I don't what no doubt most people have turned off already. So overall, Would I go back to the hotel? Yeah, not a problem at all. Yes, it's a hotel that I think is getting to the point it perhaps needs a bit of a refurb, certainly in places, but overall, not bad. The entertainment, I think, perhaps needs a look at. Again, the entertainment staff, friendly enough. I'm not going to have a go at them. They were doing stuff that I wouldn't want to do. But I did find, really, there wasn't actually that much entertainment given to you. Not as much as there is at other hotels. So whether it's just they didn't want to pay for it. They seem to do a lot of this sort of customer interaction more, getting you to be the act on stage and not them. And I know it's me being old and miserable, but I kind of go on holiday and I want them to entertain me. I'm not going there for me to be the entertainment as well. So it's a personal opinion. You do what you want. You know, we're all different, but it's not my kind of thing. And I think really they need to invest a bit more in the entertainment. And I also thought the entertainment square really needs a proper stage put in. I would suggest that as well. Build these guys who really work their bums off doing the entertainment they do. Give them proper facilities to do it on. If you're going to have it in that square, build them a proper stage. You've got plenty of room there. Build it properly. Because there's a proper built stage round at the water park, which I guess they must have used years ago and don't use anymore. That's the kind of thing you need built on the square where you're doing it now. Just an idea. So cleanliness around the hotel. Now, I'm not going to give it a 10 out of 10. In fact, I'm not even going to give it 9 out of 10. So generally it's okay. And I know tourists don't help because I hate to say some tourists are sort of messy buggers really, and they kind of, you know, this place has bins everywhere. This place, literally, per section of beds, whether it be on the beach or whether it be on the swimming pool, has a bin there. So what would be a good idea is if tourists use it. Just saying. But they do provide the facilities there. But I tell you what, I walked around everywhere, little bits on the beach, little bits around the complex. There was litter. Not a great deal, not the end of the world, nothing that would break the bank to think, oh, that's dirty, I'm not going there. I've got not that kind of issue, but I'm just saying you notice it. And, you know, there's a lot of times I thought the cleaners could have perhaps done a little bit more than they were. And yeah, I suppose I had at some hotels where these cleaners must walk by these areas when they're dragging the trolleys and all that through, and they must see this litter, and why don't they pick it up? There we go. Anyway, but like I said, overall, definitely, I'll give this place 8 out of 10 easily. Yeah, I'd give it all, overall, I'd give it 8 out of 10. Would I go back? Definitely. More than anything, and I'm going to end the video here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to leave you a little bit of a video at the end of the foam party. That was quite fun. And I filmed and watched that as people were enjoying themselves on the beach. If you do get to go to a foam party, go straight in for it. It's really good. And also, don't forget, as I did mention on the walk tour, they do a thing called a white party. I'm trying to think, I think it's a Tuesday. Could be a Tuesday night, and that's done on the beach near the beach bar. So I have told you. And they have a little bit of entertaining there, and then there's a disco at the end and all that kind of thing. And there is drinks at the bar. So I'm going to end it now with, yes, would I visit? Definitely, no problem at all. I think it's a lovely hotel. Everything pretty much works, and I haven't had any issues. The weather's always great in Egypt, hence the reason why I love going to Egypt. Whether they'll love me after this, who knows. But what I'm going to end up with, this hotel and Coral Sea senior management need to thank the staff there. The biggest thing that makes this hotel is the staff that work there, more than all the stuff, the hardware that you've got there and how things are set out and everything. It would be the team that run the place, right from the reception all the way through to the staff, waiting staff and the pool staff and the beach staff. All of them are all so friendly. Can't do enough for you. We did tip them when we're there. We did do Egyptian pounds when we were there, and we did give them UK pound sterling as well. But so do tip them. I don't know kind of what they get paid here, but some of them they don't get paid enough. But the staff were absolutely great. And do you know what? The biggest thing of all, what I'll end with, if anything made me go back to that hotel, would be the staff, would be the people in the restaurants and the pool and the bars and everything. They're absolutely great. And yeah, talk about customer service. Like I said, I've been to quite a few hotels, and the customer service generally I'll get in Egypt is pretty good. So yes, anything makes me come back to this hotel, it would be the staff, because they're just spot on. Give them your support when you're there. They do work really hard. It's not an easy job, and they do hours and hours and hours, bless them. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to finish now, and hopefully you'll wake up now. But that's my kind of full tour of the going to Sharm el Sheikh and back. And would I go back again? Yeah, absolutely. Lovely place. Right, okay. I will leave you in peace. Hopefully I'll be back on the next video, and hopefully we'll get back to where we were. Now I'm feeling a little bit better now when we're getting there. Anyway, if you're watching this later on in years to come, yeah, go and visit Sharm el Sheikh. Go to Coral Sea Water Park. Water World. Well, yeah, I keep saying park, don't I? Yeah, Water World. Anyway, I'll catch you in the next one. Have a lovely rest of your day, whether it be day, night, evening, whenever. And I will see you in the next one.